What's the crack, everybody? You listen to the Discus Laria Collective podcast. I'm your host, Warren, and I'm here with Daryl today. And we are just going to do another episode of Under the Black Hair. Basically, this series is just Daryl asks me questions. We kind of give our thoughts and opinions on particular things in the rest of the world right now. Before we get started, though, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a like on the video. If you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Really helps us out. And then wherever you get your podcast, give us a follow there as well. So we'll just hand it straight over to Daryl then and start firing the questions out.
Nice, bang straight into it.
Yeah.
Right, first thing I want to ask you is your thoughts on Kenny Omega and Rich Swann. Kenny picking up all the gold now. Yeah. Where do you think this is going to go? Do you think this is going to go down the route of him holding it on for long, before maybe challenging somebody new in Impact that's going to come in and save the company? And then maybe the likes of Samoa Joe, possibly. They have been teasing him on Impact debut, maybe at Slammiversary. They debuted, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but they have shown a segment of basically all the wrestlers that WWE going to let go. Slammiversary, I'd love to see Samoa Joe and Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe going over. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the sound of that, in fairness. Like the Kenny Omega and Rich Swann match was actually pretty good. Like I watched that Impact pay-per-view. I actually like Impact pay-per-views lately. The weekly show, I can't sit there and watch it. I just can't. It's just not entertaining. But they always deliver on the pay-per-view, seems like. So yeah, the match wasn't too bad. And I was actually hoping Rich Swann was going to win, just to kind of put a halt to the whole belt collector Kenny Omega thing. But again, realistically, there's no one else. Do you know what I mean? Like Kenny Omega is the top dog pretty much everywhere right now, so it makes sense. And obviously with this worker partnership with Impact and stuff, so it made sense for Kenny to win. I think, yeah, the only logical step then, if like Rich Swann couldn't beat him, and I don't know where Moose is, I don't know if he's injured or if he's just not around right now, he could come into the fold kind of and call him out. But I think the logical step would be have Samoa Joe debut or re-debut or whatever you want to call it, return, and call out Kenny and be like, whatever's going on with AEW, I don't want to know about it. Impact its own thing and almost tease a split already in the whole Forbidden Door thing. I think it'd be pretty cool. And then have Joe set up Joe against Kenny, two of the best ever to do it, really. And I'd love to see then Joe take the Impact belt off him, because Kenny will probably do the whole, I suppose you could say, chicken shit heel thing, where he's like, I'm not putting up all the gold, I'll put up the Impact title, and then Joe beats him for the Impact title, and then you could have even Joe call him out for the AEW one. So you go, well, I took that one fairly easy, I can get that other one off you as well. And then you'll have Joe on AEW as well as Impact. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds good. Now, if that happens, well, I'm a genius for thinking that. I was just feeling like it's gonna go down the route of Kenny will have nobody to match him, and he's just gonna do like basically an open challenge to Slammiversary, and Joe's gonna walk out or something like that and beat him.
Oh, I'd love it.
Yeah, it'd be. Imagine that Slammiversary. Yeah, Samoa Joe, he was TNA. Do you know what I mean? So that'd be great for getting things back on track. Do you think Impact now has turned the corner, and do you think they're like going down the route where they have been, like, you know, where they not necessarily rivaling WWE, but like they're kind of getting back to their good spots now, kind of.
Yeah. I think they are actually. Regardless of the whole AEW and Impact thing, I think Impact have been kind of on that cusp, I suppose you could say. Like they're about to turn that corner. The Impact or the AEW thing only helped, but I think even without it, I think that they were on their way there. They have a decent roster. Obviously not to the caliber that they had when they were at the top of their game, do you know what I mean? With Styles, Samoa Joe, Chris Van stuff like that. But again, I think they can get, I wouldn't say back, I don't know, would you say back to their best? I suppose you could, as best as they can get. I think they will, I think 2021 is going to be a good year for them. Like overall, it started off pretty promising, like, you know what I mean? And people seem to be invested now. Back in the day, people were investing in Impact. Over the past few years, they haven't really been. Do you know what I mean? They'd watch the occasional big match on one or two pay-per-views a year. They wouldn't tune into every pay-per-view. They wouldn't want to tune into every pay-per-view over the past few years. So I think they're on their way to back to their best.
Nice. As well, just kind of touching on with all them talents that have been let go and stuff like that by WWE, and so much talent being out there, and then all these let go and whatever. Do you think like there might be a stage where instead of being signed up with a company, that talent superstars will actually be signed up with like more of an agency that, you could go, like, if a company wanted, just for example, say the likes of Samoa Joe there, right? He's actually signed with an agency, and say if the likes of, say, AEW wanted him, they'd have to go to the agency and go, right, how long do you want them for? Right, we want them for a year, we'll pay him X amount. And then in the contract, right, in this year, he has to be in X, Y, and Z storyline. Give him a plan before he signs a contract for a year. And then once he does that, there's none of this 90-day clause, there's none of this, once his contract is expired with them, that's it, he can go on somewhere else. So they're not being tied down anywhere. Do you ever think we'll see anything kind of along the lines of that?
That's a whopper question, in fairness. That's deadly. And what I like about that is it's actually funny because it's almost two sides of a coin. If you look at, say, football or soccer, for people who aren't Irish or whatever, you have agents for big players anyway, like the likes of your man, what's his name, Mino Raiola or something like that, and he's Paul Pogba's manager, and I think he's Erling Haaland's manager, he's a lot of people's manager, and he kind of makes it about himself. Do you know what I mean? It's, oh yeah, well, my client doesn't re-sign that contract unless he gets $500,000 a year, or $500,000 a week, sorry, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I think the talent agency thing for wrestlers, that would be deadly, because it would eliminate the likes of a 90-day no compete clause, stuff like that. I think that's a class idea. I'd love to see it, but again, it'd be cool if it was someone running it who has knowledge of the business. Do you know what I mean? The likes of, say, now I don't know obviously, but I'm talking like the likes of an Aaron Anderson. Do you know what I mean? Someone who's been in the business so long, they know the ins and outs of it, and they know basically what's best for particular wrestlers. Because you hear 101 interviews of like ex wrestlers, and they're saying, do you know what? Do you know who's a wasted talent? And they'll name someone, and then you kind of take a step back, and you're like, whoa, yeah, that guy really is good in the ring, or he really is solid or safe or this, that, and he never got that push, regardless of who it is. But it's not until you hear like a legend say it, because they know the ins and outs, they look at it from a different perspective. So I think that'd be a really good idea. The only issue I think you'd run into there is, and again, this isn't every wrestler, but pro wrestling's a narcissistic kind of sport. You're always trying to be the best, and it's a gimmick for a lot of people. Like, like the way you have a best in the world, like a la CM Punk, or like the Miz says it a lot, stuff like that. People do say it, because obviously you're trying to build a character, you're trying to be noticed and stuff like that. I feel sometimes that feeds in a bit too much to real life. Not every wrestler, don't get me wrong. Some people can separate that, but some people live it. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it would work for like a lot of guys, but for some people, it'd be almost like, no, I don't want anyone handling my business, so I want to do it myself. And if whether they're shortchanged or whether they think they're worth more or they are worth more, they'll know the best for them. Do you know what I mean? But I'd like to see a talent agency, to be honest. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. I think there'd be no excuse then for, like, you know, people then being let go from a company and saying, oh, they were wasted, or, you know, they were put in the wrong storyline or whatever.
Exactly.
Or, like, if they're with an agency, your persona is your persona. If a company likes your persona, they bring you in as that persona to work in their company. They don't change it. They don't give you any other character or whatever like that. It is what it is. They're hiring you for your personality, and if you fit into the company. If you don't work and you don't fail, or you're not getting recognized, you're not getting hired, that's on you. There's nobody else to blame. You can't blame WWE, you can't blame AEW. It's you. You're failing. So,
and I like the idea that you said about the perks or whatever. What would you say? I don't even know the word you use. So I actually can't even, the words that literally just leave me head. But you know, the way you were saying, like, oh, they have to have this, they have to have that. Like, oh yeah, you have to be in the storyline.
Like, as in, like, a storyline, yeah. Like, so, yeah, right. What do you want my client being?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I want him focused on, I want him in the heavyweight title picture.
Yeah.
He's going to be in focus for, say, the first 6 months. After the first 6 months, after he doesn't win or whatever like that, we're going to focus him on, say, the US title.
Yeah.
And then after that, then whatever. Like, you know, we'll see how it goes after that. Boom.
Yeah.
And then after that, then no 90-day. That's it. Your contract's cut. Boom.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's deadly, because realistically, a lot of guys do suffer in companies because of creative as well. Do you know what I mean? They're signed because they're so good, like, say, on the independents or worldwide, and then they're signed to a big money contract almost, and they're like, yeah, cool. And you can be soured on. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it can happen. Some people kind of get turned off with the fact that, like, oh, he's not really doing well, or she's not really the way we thought she'd kind of be resonating with the fans right now. It's not really working. And then obviously they're sitting there and doing nothing, and it's hard to kind of get that TV time. But yeah, if they had that kind of written out in the contract, perfect. Great idea.
Yeah. I'm going to touch on then Daniel Bryan, kind of hinting and stuff like, oh, this is my last WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. I did see, now look, it could be just people making up stories online, but the way he has been talking, it does feel like, yeah, that could have been his last WrestleMania, that we might not see Daniel Bryan again. Not necessarily that he's going to retire, but he's just actually going to move on from WWE, and it feels like he does. I don't think WWE have any plans for him to, progress like to being a world champ or whatever. Do you think we can see him maybe this year even moving on to the likes of New Japan or touring different companies or something like that, especially with the way AEW, Impact and New Japan are, the way they're kind of, just kind of sharing talent at the moment?
Yeah, I'd love to see it, to be honest, as a wrestling fan and like a Daniel Bryan fan or whatever you want to say. Like as a fan in general, you'd want to see your favorites kind of wrestle constantly. Do you know what I mean? And you want to see them in cool storylines. You want to see them win titles if that's the case. But more than anything, you just want to see them wrestle. And I think if he is coming to the end of his tether almost, and it's like, right, look, I don't have a lot left in the tank here. Obviously, the whole idea of professional wrestling, don't get me wrong, it's a love it's a love for people. It's a dream for a lot of people. But at the same time, though, it's a demanding job at the end of the day. So you want to get in, make your money, get out before anything bad happens. And obviously Daniel Bryan had that taken away from him for a while, so it makes even more sense now that, like, what would you say, he has that streamlined goal now. Right, I have maybe 2 years left. Let's make the most of it, kind of thing. I'm at that doing WrestleMania there, headlined it. What's next? Do you know what I mean? Wrestle Kingdom is in January in New Japan. Their WrestleMania. Stuff like that, it'd be great to see him there. AEW obviously on the up, and there's so many dream matches if you think about it. Like Kenny Omega obviously is the big one we're always chatting about him. Kenny Omega, and then you look at like New Japan. There's the likes of, say, like the top dogs like Tanahashi and Okada and stuff like that. And then you look at even like, say, middle of the pack kind of guys that have been around for ages. Nagata, he's a big time guy. He's fighting John Moxley soon, I think it is. He's like an older kind of guy, you know what I mean? But again, he has that style of wrestling that would work well with Daniel Bryan. Ishii, stuff like that. There's a load of really cool guys that I'd like to see Daniel Bryan fight. I think as a fan, I'd like to see him do that kind of loop. New Japan, AEW. If you want to do one more kind of run and Ring of Honor, go for it. Yeah, you got your first cuts there, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it makes sense to have a little farewell tour almost. Live that dream almost that you did years ago. So I think I'd like to see it. I think he is kind of done with WWE soon. I think he'll be welcome back with open arms whenever he does come back. But I think it's a mutual thing. Yeah. Like, right, look, fair play for coming back from that injury. You gave us everything you had now over the past year or two. You go off and do what you can. And I think he's fighting Roman Reigns, is he, on SmackDown this week, I think, to get into a title match or something like that, I think. So again, what'll happen, it'll happen. I don't think he'll be in the title match. I think Edge might get involved, and him and Edge might have that dream match as well. And then that'll be the end of Daniel Bryan WWE. That's my guess.
Yeah, loser leaves town match.
Yeah, I think it'll be around SummerSlam or so, or just before SummerSlam, and then that'll be him kind of, then he can go off, do his own thing then for the next year or so.
Nice. Next one I'm going to go on to is Big Bad Kaz. I don't know if you've seen him returning. I don't know if anybody listening to us now has seen him, but that guy, I feel like personally, that guy could have been the next big thing with WWE. I know he had like certain issues and stuff like that, and he went down, a dark path or whatever, but he's after coming out a much brighter side of it. Yeah. The chap is looking fucking ripped. Like, you shouldn't be 7 foot that way and looking like that. Like, you shouldn't be. Yeah. And having that hair as well. Like, he looks that absolute business. He does. I know he's in Impact now, and he's under the name of Will Morrissey, I think.
Yeah, W. Morrissey or something, yeah.
Yeah, I want to know, like, do you think WWE kind of dropped the ball on him, and like they kind of should have stuck by him and tried to pull him through kind of, that dark time? Like, we've seen it with many wrestlers before, like now Jimmy Snuka, many more. Do you think they should have kind of stuck by him? And do you think we'll see Kaz going into a much bigger kind of role, maybe not an Impact, but AEW or back to WWE? And do you think we'll see Enzo maybe coming into Impact as well?
So to answer, say, the three parts of it, the first part, I think they did drop the ball on him. I think they definitely did. I think Cass he was likable in general. Like, me watching it, I liked him. I didn't mind him. Enzo got me nerves a bit, but again, he played his part well. I didn't mind him. Do you know what I mean? I didn't mind him together either. I thought they were deadly. I feel they did drop the ball though. Again, as you said, the size of the chap. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he was going through a few bits. Stick with him, do you know what I mean? Or let him stick with you kind of thing. And then, as you said, come out the other side. Because not even just the look of him now, but in general, it's the perfect WWE look. Do you know what I mean? That height, that weight, that like he just looks the part. And it was strange when he was let go, to be honest with you. It was a bit of a shocker. Because I always thought like if Enzo's gone, oh, Castle get that big time push. He didn't really, which was crazy. I think he will go on to big things in Impact. I think he's the perfect person to kind of, he's with Violent by Design, I think now. So he'll stick with them for a bit maybe, and then go off into a solo run eventually. But yeah, to kind of get your feet wet again, stick with a group of kind of experienced guys makes sense. I think he will. Yeah, he'll be a big time player. And if in fairness, if this whole Forbidden Door thing partnership didn't happen with AW, I feel like he probably would have been the one to actually beat Rich Swann for the title. I think people like that who have that look or have that way about them, it makes sense to even try the title on them. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Because he's not a bad talker. Do you know what I mean? As we said, he looks the part and he's decent in the ring for a big guy. Why not? If anything, you're printing money there, especially the way, say, WWE market big guys, it just makes sense. And in terms of Enzo, I do think he'll rock up. Yeah, I think again, Enzo being the mouthpiece, he was the real kind of money guy in WWE. All the t-shirts and all, what basically his catchphrases, his picture, his tattoos and all that. Do you know what I mean? It just makes sense to have them together. And even if you wanted to have them together, to have them break up on TV, even better, because that's what basically they did with Zack Ryder when he went to Impact. Him and Kurt Hawkins or Brian Myers, whatever you want to call him, they did that, and now they're fighting, they're feuding. It's kind of that full circle thing. It's like, right, let's go, let's show them what they missed out on. And I think Enzo will show up as well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it does seem kind of fitting to have the two boys. Like the boys are still really close. Like,
yeah.
So I'd say Kaz, I'd say he had something like, if I'm coming here, I want to have Enzo come along. I don't know if he has officially
signed
been with the lads. No, I don't think he's joined that group. I think he was just like a hired one.
Yeah, he just kind of jumped in. Yeah, it wasn't like they like formally announced him or anything like that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if he does go down that path. It would be nice to see him go down that path, like to just kind of be a standout character on his own. And that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, fingers crossed he does get that push. What age is he? He has to be, he's pretty young, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks really young anyway.
Yeah, so like he's still got a good few years left on him. It's not like he's at the last, couple of years or whatever. He still seems to have a
the
last hurrah.
Yeah, he's 34.
Oh damn! Yeah, geez, he's still he's in minimum 6 years still left in.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. Yeah, it's not really like football. Like if you look at some of the lads, like Finn Balor, I think is 40 now. Do you know what I mean? Or close enough to it. Nakamura 40. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. They can still go.
So yeah, it looks really promising for Impact. I used to be a big Impact fan, and then I just when it just started going really downhill. I think I can't even remember when, but when all the boys started leaving, it got real bad. But yeah, it looks like exciting times now coming forward. So if they keep on bringing all these talents back in, they're not old talent that WWE used to have.
Yeah,
like like the likes of like all these boys are like in their 50s, or late 40s. These boys are like what, max maybe 34, 35. They still got a lot to prove, so it's exciting times ahead for them.
That's it. They're at the point, like.
Yeah. The last point that I'm going to go on to, unless I've missed something that you can think of, but the last thing I'm going to go on to is the segment and the promo that NXT showed about the Diamond Mine. What's your thoughts? Who do you think is going to... Who's this going to be?
Who is it? Yeah. First off, I thought the thing was deadly. I like this. I like when companies do that, like tease something and don't just kind of give it away or give too much away. Do you know what I mean? I know they teased Frankie Monet or Toya Valkyrie, whatever you want to call her. They teased her the past few kind of weeks, and then a lot of people knew straight away. They're like, yeah, it's her. But at the same time, though, when it's like a group, it's even better. Do you know what I mean? And the fact they didn't really give much away, I think is cool. My gut feeling is Eva Marie as like a manager to Parker Boudreaux or whatever how you pronounce the last name. I think it's Boudreaux or Bro. I don't know. Boudreaux. I think there's an R in that. So I think it's her as the manager. Him. I think maybe Rick Steiner's son Bronson. He's signed as well, and then possibly, obviously, a lot of people obviously thinking Tessa Blanchard. I don't think so off the bat. Now, I'll be happy to be proved wrong. I think she's deadly, but I think she's deadly in the ring. I don't really think too much of her as a person, to be honest, but whatever. So I think it could be them three mainly. Parker, Bronson, Reichsteiner, and Eva Marie. That's what I think. And I think the whole idea is Eva Marie is like the manager, and she's like, this is what I do. I produce diamonds. This is the next big thing. This is whatever. Rick Steiner Jr. But I think it'd be class. I think it is going to be them. Either way, that's the thing. I'm actually excited for it because I don't know. I'm just guessing. Do you know what
I mean? Hopefully it's not some fucking little easier that comes in. Gets absolutely thumping.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. That sounds like great, especially with Tessa Blanchard after tweeting kind of, she's so proud of the woman that she's become and stuff like that. And at the end of her tweet, it's a little diamond as well. So whether she's just kind of playing to it,
could be. That's the thing. Like, I don't mind. Like, if she's brought in, happy days. Do you know what I mean? Then you have a full kind of faction there. Do you know what I mean? You have female. You have two big boys then as well, and Eva Marie is the manager. So it would make sense if she is brought in. But we'll see what happens. Do you think Tessa Blanchard is going to be in it?
I do. Yeah, I think since we kind of commented on it there a while ago about her training with like the likes of Sasha Banks and stuff like that. And that was kind of a bit of a teaser going back. She's been out now for so long. I know, people have their opinions on, her personality and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, I know WWE, they try to portray that they're, they're this great company that despise like any racism or this, that, and the other. But look, they have Hogan there. They're bringing Hogan back. He wasn't appreciated before. They brought him back again. He wasn't appreciated again. So, the likes of Tessa Blanchard, she's nowhere near the likes of on the scale of Hogan.
Yeah.
So, I think she's been out for that long. A lot of people are kind of going to just forget about it. And she kind of burnt her bridges with Impact, I feel.
I think she did. Holding the belt hostage and stuff like that. I think it was unprofessional, to be honest. But again, if it leads to bigger and brighter things, she's not going to have any regrets about that. Do you know what
I mean? No. I think, especially now with Rhea, after kind of moving on, I think there is that hole there that they need to kind of start building kind of women back up on that on NXT now as well. Start getting a few more names on it and have a good, healthy roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back on noticeable names, like, real kind of like they've always had, like, so. Yeah, that's kind of me done for the week, man. So
yeah, happy days. But savage questions as usual, as per, as they say. But Whopper. Whenever you have any more of these, just let me know. Either way, kind of gonna try to get back on the horse and do more kind of content again, because I was gonna take a week off and I ended up taking about 2 weeks off, putting a video or a podcast out every now and then when I felt like it. That's what I was doing. Mainly, I suppose you could call it a WrestleMania hangover, or you could just call it laziness. This whole lockdown and stuff like that. I was doing a few other bits as well, like trying to learn how to draw and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So why not? But yeah, so
I think the main thing is just Raw has been draining. That's your main go-to show, and once you're kind of getting dumped off that, it kind of does put you off.
It does. Yeah, it's been pretty bad. Yeah, it's really hard to watch. Like even last week and all, I had to turn it off after a while. I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. But we'll leave this here then, and because otherwise I know I'm going to talk about Raw. Otherwise, we'll call a spade a spade. So yeah, once again, thanks very much, Sarah, for the questions. Really appreciate it. Always a good time as well, because it kind of gets you thinking as well about particular things. So it's deadly. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, as I said at the start of the video, thanks very much for sticking with it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can find us on social media as well. Discus Lariat Collective on Instagram and the Discus Lariat on Twitter. And then wherever you get your podcasts, all the links will be in the description, stuff like that. Just give us a follow on there as well if you can. And then until next time, then we'll see you soon.